Our guest today, Sandra Boyd, is here to tell us about their distressing experience that led to the recent addition of trail markers around Wolf Creek. So here I have Sandra Boyd and Oliver.
Yes,
how are you guys doing
Jenna.
today?
We're doing great. Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks for coming down. Yeah,
absolutely. We're so excited. Yeah, in May of 2023, I used to walk Oliver, which I still do, on Wolf Creek Trail a lot. Now, Oliver has a back leg disability, so he was wearing his wheels when we walked. So it was really nice on Wolf Creek because it's asphalt, so it made it really easy for him to. Yes.
Great trail. I love taking my kids there.
It is. It's great.
Yeah.
But one day we were out walking doing our usual, and we passed an individual man, and he was sitting on the bench, and he started asking me for money, and then I said, well, I don't have any money, and kept going, and then he started.
Did you have any money on you, Oliver?
Oh, let me check my pulse. And he said no, so I thought, well, and we pass a lot of distressed folks, and I just kept going, and then he started swearing at me and getting extremely, extremely agitated. And he had a shopping cart and a big duffel bag with his belongings.
Well, that's got to be scary, being alone with just you and Oliver on the trail.
Exactly.
A distressed man. Mm-hmm. I don't like the sounds of this.
But no, it's just the beginning of the distress. And so I did call dispatch then. I dialed 911 and said, I'm passing a man that I explained the situation. And I said, I think he really needs mental health intervention. I'm a retired social worker. So I knew he was probably,
you knew the signs,
mental health issues, maybe some drugs involved, and especially with agitation. He was getting very agitated. And then he got up with his grocery cart and started coming after us. And again, no other walkers around. So and dispatch took my information and I'd hung up. But then he started coming for us with his cart and pushing it in our direction. And the big thing about bringing up Oliver's condition was with his wheels on, I couldn't run and drag him with his wheels. I just couldn't do it and could not pick him up and run. And so then I called dispatch back and said, look, I'm in a bad situation. This guy's coming for me with his cart. He's getting closer. There's nobody else down here. And the dispatcher said, where are you? I said, I'm on Wolf Creek Trail. He said, where? I said, I don't know. I just passed the waterfall off Freeman Lane, and I'm going as fast as I can towards the end of the trail. Not the waste treatment, but the other end. And he said, are you behind trips? I said, I don't know if I'm behind trips. I don't know.
And it's so hard when you're, in distress, too. It's like, I'm not sure.
Exactly. So we were moving as fast as we could with his little wheels.
Were you scared,
and
Oliver?
He said, I was. Thanks for caring, Jenna. And so we kept going, and then I ran into another lady, and at this point, he was screaming and getting closer, and again, very, very agitated, which again, as a social worker, really concerned me. He wasn't just asking for money or whatever, but he was starting to come towards us, and angry and very upset. And so we're screaming at dispatch, you've got to find us. And they said, well, we've dispatched Grass Valley Police. Are you behind trips? I said, no, we're not behind trips. And we tried to describe, but it was very hard. It's like, we're going down the creek, down the direction of where the creek's going. And that was about all we could come up with. And they said, well, Grass Valley Police is out there. And in the meantime, we ran into a third lady. And so we all got together and kind of were doing the best we could. But he was getting awfully close. And then the dispatcher said,
he's still yelling at you with all these ladies around, too.
Yes, and with his cart that he was going to ram us with. And so they said, well, let him pass. And where are you? We kept on with that. And at that point, all three of us were yelling into the phone to dispatch. They said, we've dispatched GVPD and they can't find you. And they said, pass him. So we did let him pass. And then he sat down on one of the benches with his stuff. And then as we got closer, he got up and came after us again. And so by the time
poor Oliver's probably going as fast as he could.
He was going as fast with his little legs and his wheels. Oh. Yes, he was. And he knew that the ladies were upset because we were terrified. And all three of us were yelling into the phone.
So they had a huge problem figuring out your location on the trail.
Yes.
I think that was the big problem there.
They had no clue at all where we were.
And so can you tell us a little bit of what happened after that and how now
Yeah. So he's finally Grass Valley Police. They had sent Grass Valley Police to the mining museum
Okay.
at the four-way stop, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah,
So they were
fair
way
enough.
down there. We were way down at the other end of the trail. So Grass Valley Police, they finally patched us through, and they were running down the trail to get to us. And so finally they come around the corner, we see them, and the man saw them coming, so he ran down and crossed the creek. Excuse me. And so they came up to us. One took a chase after him and had to cross the creek and chase after him. And then the other cop came to check on us, and they were very upset. They said, "We didn't know where you were. We've been running to catch you."
Oh, no.
And
Yeah, they're just trying to help.
yeah, and they were upset because they
Right.
could hear us on the phone when they finally patched us through. We're screaming and very upset, and he's coming for us, and he's right next to us. And so they were very worried they couldn't see us. So it was Sergeant Herrera and Evan Bishop were there, and they were saying, "We don't know why there's no markers on these trails. We're so upset we couldn't find you." And they knew the individual that had been threatening us. They said, "Oh, yes, we're quite familiar. When he's on his medication, he's pretty good, but clearly he has gone off, and he is dangerous." So they said, and they said, "Do you have your mace?" And they started asking what protection we had as women out there walking. And I said, "No, I walk here all the time. I've always felt pretty safe." And
Well, it's hard to describe where you are with things like that going on. So can you tell me a little bit more about the markers that were put in because of the incident?
Yeah, and that was, again, as I mentioned, the police said they need markers on these trails.
Markers on the trail?
If I'm a mountain biker and bike Tahoe a lot in the summer, and if anybody is a trail hiker or a biker,
Which up here, there's a lot of there's a lot of everybody.
Exactly.
They want to be on the trails. That's our thing.
Oh, yeah, we're good with that. And so especially we ride the Rim Trail and the Flume Trail at Tahoe, and that's where I learned about the markers. They are everywhere up there. And so they're posts in the ground about 5 feet high or so, and they have numbers on them. So if you're familiar with that you look at the number. Every time you pass one, you look at the number, because if anything happens, like marker 50, and if you fall, you have an emergency, anything, you call 911, you say, I'm a little past marker 50.
Pay attention to those marker numbers, people. That's a good
That's why
one,
we
too.
really want people to understand how the markers work. And so
So they put new ones in at Wolf Creek then? Or
Yes,
they put
they did.
ones in?
yes,
So
and let me back up just a little bit. I forgot to tell you about the council.
Rewind.
Yeah, I thought, how did we get to the markers? So anyway, I have this wonderful friend, Councilman Bob Brunston, and
Shout out, Bob.
Shout out to Bob. So I told him my situation. He said, "You have to tell the city council." I said, I'll do it. So he told me how to do that. So I wrote it all up, got scheduled, went and presented, and said, "We really need markers on the trail," to the whole council. And they said, "Yeah, that we do." And an added note is they have gotten funding to expand Wolf Creek Trail. So it's going to be even longer and even more important to be safe.
Well, I'm so sorry that scary experience happened to you and you, Oliver.
Yes, it's about me.
But I mean, you went to the council, you wrote it up, and that's just the great thing about it is you saw a problem, and I'm sorry that it was so scary for you guys. But now you went to council, and now something's being done. We've got the markers. If something does happen,
I know.
I'm
We're
a marker.
Excited.
I'm a marker number 2. Help me.
Yeah, and again,
So
it could be anything.
thank you for doing that for us. Yeah. Thanks for coming down and telling us your story. Oliver, thank you.
High five.
You're a hero, sir. Thank you for your service out there.